Okay, but there's something else, I'll come back to this, which is the way in which the Occupy sites are organized reflect organizing online. And Steve Anderson, right, I got the name right? Yeah, from Open Media, wrote a really good article about this, about his visit on Rabble, about his visit to Occupy Vancouver and how he noticed the organizing was very similar to the unconferences that a lot of internet activists have. And so and the other thing I've noticed, because I've visited four of the sites, is that a lot of the initial people who started this are online activists, and they're so excited to be putting their networking skills into practice in the real world, because you know what? There's a difference. Like, you know, there's a difference. Stalker calls it love. I'm not so good at calling it love, but it is love. Like a human connection among people, person to person, when you're talking to them and you're looking in their eye and touching them and hugging them, which happens a lot on these sites as well. And they're so excited. They're so excited. You know, I had an amazing experience the other day. I was speaking in Wolfville, and at the end of the question period, this woman puts up her hand at the back. She's standing. She says, "I'm so excited. I'm dancing." She said, "I'm dancing. I can't stand still." And that's true of a lot of the young people, because they're feeling that kind of connection, and they're using the skills they learned online on the site. And then there's, okay. When I went to Velcro called me and he said, "Judy, you have to come down here. This is your thing." So I went to Occupy Wall Street, and it was amazing. And one of the people I met was named Malik. We got there the second day, and there was a crowd gathered. So Velcro said, "Oh, I heard Noam Chomsky was coming, and he's probably signing books because it was over by the library." So we went over there, but it wasn't Noam Chomsky. It was two black guys arguing. Passionate argument. And that's another thing about these sites, is that there's constant discussion going on about politics, especially in New York, but in Toronto too, and in Vancouver too, and in Halifax too. And these two guys, one was in his 60s, one was in his 40s, they were having an epic debate about. The guy in his 60s was saying to the kids, "Why are you doing this? We've tried to make alliances with white people before, it hasn't worked." And the guy in his 40s was saying, "Brother, you shouldn't be saying that. I respect you because you were there in the civil rights movement, but you're wrong. Now they're feeling the pain that we're feeling. It's different now." And they were arguing with such passion, and then more and more people kept coming around. So I want to, and we found out after that the younger guy, who was the most articulate, the most passionate, and I'm a speaker, it's what I do. I've rarely seen a more effective speaker. His name is Malik. He's a 49-year-old construction worker, and I want to show you a video of him as well, and to tell you that he never did anything like this before.
My name is Malik, and I come from Occupy the Hood, and the reason why I'm here is maybe 2 weeks ago when I first came down, I just came to watch. And I noticed that my people, brown people, Latinos, were the least represented here. So like with anything, if the white community has a cold, we have the flu. So what I did was I went on the internet, I made a Twitter just as a sounding board, and it worked. But we're actually organizing in Detroit. We're actually helping them organize in New Orleans. So it wasn't my intention. It was just really to wake people up on the internet. And when it grew, we got to go with it. When the tide, like what Obama said, when the tide rises, I rose with it. So I have to be out here. Monday, October 10th, they're having their first General Assembly in Detroit. You can hit me up on Occupy the Hood on Twitter, or you can email occupythehood@gmail.com, and I'll give you all the information you need. So Detroit needs it better, and they stopped welfare, they stopped the food stamps October 1st in Detroit. Someone is going to get something out of this, obviously. I hope whoever gets something out of this, that they put it in social programs that work. Like I said, fair housing. I believe in welfare reform in a sense, but you have to replace that with jobs. But love came out of it, that's definitely, I've met some people here that I never thought I would even talk to. I met Brother Cornette West, and he really supports the movement. Russell Simmons really supports the movement. Lupe Fiasco really supports the movement. So, but more than anything, awareness. If you can get economic awareness, I'm just speaking for my community. If you can get economic awareness, we won't be having these issues like we have in my community. I mean, if you ever been to Brooklyn, if you ever been to South Jamaica, Queens,
uneducated when it comes to
we've been occupied by Wall Street for years. You know, the Michael Jordans and all of that stuff. We've been occupied. We've been paying out our pockets for years. So, and Wall Street was built on the bones, slave bones. You know, so my agenda is only to get the neighborhood to understand that their money's tied up there too. There's 43 million people on welfare. J.P. Morgan peddles food stamps in 26 states. They're making money off my poverty. They're feeding more people here than my mayor feeds.
Exactly, every day.
They're feeding more people here than my mayor feeds, and that's a problem.
Where the money is going,
that's a problem. I don't know if you caught this here. Every day, people
every day,
are feeding.
food, right behind me. Thank all the people that donated to Occupy Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? Because if it wasn't for you guys, keep on funding and keep on donating and keep on sending clothes, socks, shoes, tampons and tampons for the ladies, toothbrushes, toothpastes, soap. A lot of things wouldn't be possible, and we just blessed. Thank you.
Okay, so I wanted you to see that because it's the closest experience I can give you to being at Occupy Wall Street. And I want to just say one thing because I think it's talked about a lot. This is the biggest, the most important social movement that I've seen since I was 18 in the 60s. And how do we know that? We know that because it's already changed a lot. It's already shifted the sands. So, Think Progress, a think tank in the United States, looked at 3 keywords in the 3 major US networks, 3 weeks before Occupy and then 3 weeks after. In the 3 weeks before, they used the word debt 7,500 times. In the 3 weeks after, they used it 398 times. Okay? The top words that came up in the 3 weeks after were jobs, Occupy, and Wall Street. So even The Economist, which if there was ever a magazine for the 1%, it's that, showed it on their front cover. It's changed the conversation already in a month. And not only that, but it has 57% support of Americans say they support Occupy, 52% and 57% of Canadians. And not only that, but 72% of Canadians under 30 say they support it. This is unheard of. Woo. Okay. So I want to talk about Vancouver because my feeling is there's been more problems here in some ways than other places. And that's reflective because all the Occupy, and I'm going to end here, all the Occupy sites reflect their community. They have commonalities for sure. There's a common feeling, there's a common enthusiasm, there's common courage that the young people are showing, there's a common optimism that they're showing, but otherwise it reflects the community. Sometimes not the diversity of the community, which we can talk about further. And Vancouver is a very disturbed community. It's 6 blocks away from the downtown east side, which is the poorest community in the country, the most drug-addicted community in this country. And it also has a lot of very experienced anti-poverty activists who haven't seen very much attention to their issues. And now there's a chance to get attention. And some people are not, a couple of those people are not very nice. They're nasty. I know because a couple of them attacked me during the G20 when I went after the Black Bloc. They're not nice. But there's only a couple of them like that. And the media took a conflict that happened, it did happen one night, and put it on the front page. And by doing that, tried to discredit the whole Occupy movement, not just in Vancouver, but across the country. Now, the media loves conflict. That's what they think is news, power and conflict. That's what they think is news. Unfortunately, there weren't enough people here to counter it. Like in other places, when the media has taken a line like this, either the Occupy site itself or other people moved in to defend the site. Here, because of the election, some people who should have known better, and I'm going to name Bill Thielman because I'm really pissed off at him, actually took it further, called it a pathetic excuse for a revolution, is what he called it. A pathetic excuse for it. So, no, you know, I understand there's conflict because a lot of the people on Occupy don't really care whether Gregor's mayor, and a lot of you, I'm sure, and I, and a lot of us in our generations, and the people who support Gregor care a lot. And that's a real difference. But, and any movement, there's a difference. In the women's movement, we had radical activists, you know, we know in the abortion movement, I was in the street, radical activists with OCAC, we did direct action, we disrupted meeting, and then you had Carol, we thought they were middle-class reformists, but they raised all the money. You know, we hated each other, but we never publicly denounced each other. And when we decided to have an action, even though they tried to talk us out of it, once it was happening, they built it because they were dedicated to the movement. So when you have a big movement, not all of us can understand what's going on in these sites. It's not our movement, it's the young people's movement that some of us are comfortable with, others aren't. I think the more you go down there, the more comfortable you get, okay? And I think it's important to become comfortable. Don't take it over, don't tell them what to do, just go down and see how you can help. And that doesn't mean not being critical at all, but I think Suk said this yesterday, being critical is not what's required now. This is like a disease of the left. We think it's our job to criticize everything. Well, excuse me, fuck! You know, our generation hasn't done so well lately. They've accomplished more. I'm not allowed to say fuck. Okay, I have to shut up though. They've accomplished more. I'm over 65, so I can say fuck now, right? They've accomplished more in New York it's 2 months, but here it's a month, than we've managed to accomplish with all our efforts and work in the last 20 years. That's my opinion. So I say get behind them and ask how you can help. Thank you.